Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Colleen, and today I'm going to work on a really simple dish. I'm going to make chicken fried rice, but I'm also going to share with you a couple of things that I think you might find useful in your everyday cooking. So I'm going to gather up the ingredients that I need right off the bat to make chicken bouillon. And yes, you can make chicken bouillon, and I'm going to teach you a healthy way to do that today without using any chicken. So I will be right back after this. I have everything gathered up to make chicken bouillon, and I'm just going to zip through them quickly. The main ingredient is nutritional yeast, and that, if you've never used it before, might sound weird. And it is a little bit spendy up front. I pick it up at my regular supermarket. It's in the aisle where the, what do you call them? Where the ground flours are. I think it's called Red Mills. Anyway, I'm sure you can find it in your local supermarket as well, and if not, a health food store for sure. So nutritional yeast is really good for us. It's good for our digestion. It contains B vitamins, particularly B12. It's very high in protein, and just has all the 9 essential amino acids that we need for our body each and every day. So this is something that's really good for you, and it will fool your brain into thinking you're actually having regular chicken bouillon, which is interesting. We have some onion powder, garlic powder, parsley, oregano, basil here somewhere, celery seed, and black pepper. And I took all the lids off so that I didn't have to spend all the time putting lids off and on and causing a bunch of noise. I'll just set this plate aside for the time being because it was helpful to me there. And I need to just, in this jar, I marked nutritional yeast because when I opened up the package originally to use it, you know, they come in those bags that have the tear-off tops. Well, I was a little too vigorous and I tore the bag and I couldn't reseal it. So I just put it into a couple of canning jars. So I know there's a cup of nutritional yeast in here, and it's actually flaky. And some of the other ones that we're using today, like the parsley, is quite flaky, as is the basil. So if that puts you off at all, you can take this, mix it all together, and then you can put it into your blender and blend it until it's more smooth, more like the chicken bouillon you're used to getting from the store. I don't find a necessity to do that, but try it. You can try it and use your first couple of spoonfuls, and if you don't like that, then you can blend the rest. So in goes a cup. It might be just shy of a cup, but it's not much. And it smells so good. I use nutritional yeast just on popcorn or as a flavoring for things. So we're going to start off with, oh, of course it's right in front of me, with 3, I'm going to say, scant tablespoons of garlic powder. Yes, the powder's going to look the same. And then 3 tablespoons of onion powder, 2, 3, and then we're going to need 2 tablespoons of parsley and 2 tablespoons of basil, this makes quite a bit, and 2 tablespoons of oregano, and 1 tablespoon of black pepper. If you're not really fond of black pepper, you can cut that back, but I love black pepper and everything. And then I only need like half a tablespoon or just over a teaspoon of celery seed, which really adds something to this dish. And there you have it. Homemade chicken bouillon. Now I'm just going to put it in this jar and I'm going to shake it until I know that it's all completely mixed. I have already marked the jar. It says chicken bouillon on the top. And this chicken bouillon will keep for quite a while in the cupboard. I'm not sure what the life expectancy is for the nutritional yeast, because again I ripped the package, so I don't know what the best before date was, but it would be the one I'd be most concerned about, and I would probably put its best before date on the cap as well. Most of the spices will hold up for quite some time, but it would be the bouillon I'd be concerned about. There you go. Homemade chicken bouillon that actually contains all the ingredients that are good for you. For heaven's sakes, who knew? I will grab my last bit that I have out of the cupboard and just see what the ingredients are on a traditional store-bought bouillon. Well, maybe I will if I can read that small. So the first ingredient is salt, and then there's sugar, including corn syrup solids, monosodium glutamate, dehydrated mechanically separated cooked chicken, rosemary extract, cornstarch, chicken fat, calcium silicate, hydrolyzed vegetable protein blend, yeast extract, salt, sunflower oil, hydrogenized corn protein, seasoning, soy protein, artificial flavor. Well, the list goes on from here to here on the side of the container. And I'm not going to show the brand because I don't want to give them a hard time, and this may be all that's available to you. And if it is, by all means use it. But I thought I would share this with you today, and that way if you're on the hunt for a healthier version of chicken bouillon, you'll have this recipe. So, next, what have I got on the go for today? Well, today I'm just going to grab all the ingredients. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to grab all the ingredients and we're going to start the process of making a really quick chicken fried rice. So I will just gather that all up and clean this up, and I'll be back before you know I'm gone. Okay, one of the things that's important in making fried rice, any kind of fried rice, is that it's cooked and allowed to cool before you start frying it. Today I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cook it, and then I'm going to get it into the pan, probably while it's still scorching hot, so it might take a little longer in the pan than it usually would, and it might not get crispy on the outside, which is fine by us, but you do whatever you're comfortable with or what you're used to doing as far as frying rice goes. I really appreciate everybody's kitchen is different, and our methods of doing things are different, and that includes cooking rice. Now, it's been years, literally years, since I cooked rice on the stovetop, and I don't have a rice cooker. I felt like I didn't need one more appliance in my kitchen, so I use my microwave always to cook my rice, and I've had really good results with that. But if you've tried it and you don't care for it that way, or you don't like the way it cooks the rice, or whatever the reason might be, then you cook your rice the traditional way that you do it. I'm using long grain basmati rice today, so I'm going to rinse it because I just find I have a better result. It doesn't all clump together if I've rinsed it. If you want your rice to clump together, if you're making another dish and that's important, then by all means don't rinse it. But I'm going to rinse it under water for at least a whole minute and try and get the water to run clear out of the bottom, which means that I have most of the starch off the outside of the grain of the rice. Now the vessel that I'm using, I use the same old white Pyrex dish for the rice all the time. Once in a while I've used a bowl, but I try to find a bowl that's got a bigger flat bottom. Just seems to cook the rice better that way. And I get the same result by using the same ingredients, the same rice, the same water, in the same vessel every time. So that's what I stick to. Once I find it, I'm kind of stuck to it. So now I'm going to just transfer the rice back to the bowl. And while I have the rice over here at the sink, I'm going to add 2 1/4 cups of water. I feel like I need that much in the microwave. I think the recipe calls for 2 1/2 cups if you're cooking it according to the directions on the bag. But I found that was a little too watery for me, so that's not how I do it. Now, I'm going to add some fat to this. I'm using butter, and I'm going to take about a tablespoon of butter and put it right in with the rice. I am going to add 2 tablespoons of my fresh chicken bouillon, and in it goes. And I'll just give it a quick stir. Make sure everything is mixed together. And already I can tell you it smells good. And I think you would find that to be the same way. Okay. Very good. Okay, let's put a cover on this because we want to steam this rice in the microwave. And I have a good microwave that is 1500 watts, which I think most microwaves are today. If yours is less, you may have to add time. Don't be afraid to experiment with it to find out what might work for you. Because once you've learned this technique, I think you'll stick to it. So I'm going to put this in the microwave for 18 minutes, not a moment more or less. If I was cooking it in a different vessel, I would probably add more time. But we find 18 minutes is perfection. Now I was going to show you this rice in a jar method. And I still will, just so that you can see, but it's really not necessary. Now, if you have other people in your house besides yourself that are cooking in your kitchen, and that you appreciate having their help in the kitchen, then it doesn't hurt to have some jars of things ready in the cupboard so that they can just reach in, read the label on the top, which you would label with the instructions, and they could make a simple meal for you. And that would be fantastic. Let me wipe as I go here. So, to make this simple chicken rice in a jar, you just need to do what we've already done. 1 cup of rice into the jar, 2 tablespoons of our chicken bouillon, and then you have tasty rice to go along with chicken dishes or whatever kind of dishes you might enjoy. And just label the top with the cooking instructions. If your family cooks rice in a pot on the stove, put the instructions for that, how much water to add to the pot, how long it should cook, whether it should be covered or uncovered. And there you go. Now you have a meal in a jar, or the beginnings of a meal in a jar. You can use this as a side dish for so many different dishes that you might take on. So I just thought I would show it to you in the jar, but really scooping rice out of the bin and adding 2 tablespoons from the chicken bouillon jar isn't tough, but this does cut down a step if you're cooking in your kitchen with other people and you want them to be able to follow your simple directions. So make them up in advance. These two, if you are a dehydrator and you have dehydrated vegetables like dehydrated onion or peas or whatever in your pantry, you could also add vegetables to this, and that would just, you know, add another layer of complexity to this meal in a jar. Okay, so let's move on while the rice is cooking and get on to the next part of this dish. Okay, this is the last of it. This is honestly one of the simplest dishes that you could make. If you're following along, we're using chicken that was left over from some chicken breasts that we cooked day before yesterday, I think. And we want to use them up and not let them go to waste, so this chicken rice seems to be the perfect thing. I've got 4 small green onions. I'm going to just chop them up to have them ready to go when everything else is ready to go. I'm also going to run my knife through those chicken bits because they were just shredded, and I think I would like the pieces smaller. I think the key maybe to having a good chicken rice dish, fried rice, is that you don't want big pieces. The rice is small, the scallions are cut small. Most of the vegetables are smaller, although I have in this bunch, because it's what I have some carrots and some peas in the shell and a bit of corn. So, but you want everything to kind of be like the same size, so smaller, in order to have a good texture in it. So I'm just going to quickly run my knife through this and get these smaller. And hope that as I do this, I'm thinking about all you folks out there, and hope that everybody is well and healthy, and really that's what we can hope for at this stage in our lives, is to stay healthy as long as we can. Our little community of Golden is getting a new traffic bridge. So you may not know much about our community because I don't share that often. But Golden has a river that runs straight through it from basically east to west. And then the town is situated in a valley that runs north-south. I'm on the north side of town. And the river that runs through our town is called the Kicking Horse River, and the Kicking Horse needed a new bridge. The bridge that was there was built in 1952, and it was seeing a lot of wear and tear from traffic, as there's so many more big trucks on the road today, and that bridge was not built for heavy traffic. So the Kicking Horse River runs through the town, the historic old part of town. We have a lot of problem with ice flows that back up against the bridge, so they're building the bridge much higher up and in a different way so that the ice flows aren't such a problem. The Kicking Horse runs west towards the Columbia River. It joins the Columbia right at the edge of town. And then, of course, most of you know the Columbia River runs all the way down and empties out at Astoria, Oregon. So it's a long river, and we're not very far here from the headwaters of the river. We're about, I want to say 100 miles from the headwaters of the Columbia River. And so this is where it originates before it starts its long journey. So, needless to say, with all the cranes and the heavy trucks working in town, everything is so dusty right now. The roads are dusty, and they're watering them and trying to constantly get rid of the dirt off them so that it's not filling our homes with dust, but they're I think, fighting a losing battle until they can get the biggest part of that construction that's right in the center of town finished. And we will all celebrate that for more than just the dust reasons. But of course there's traffic being held because it is right in the center of town, and we have only one bridge that crosses the river that you can take vehicle traffic on. So into my skillet, my electric skillet, I have put in about, I don't know, I was talking 2 tablespoons maybe of olive oil. And I'm going to put in that cut up chicken, which appears to be 1.5 cups or 2 cups of chicken. Really, this isn't one of those things that you have to measure very well either. Yeah, I might have overdone the old oil in the pan a little bit. I just want to add some temperature to that and make sure that it's going to be okay. I'm going to pull out these bigger veggies that are at the top, and I am going to give them a whack. I think there's more in the bottom, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get to them without spilling everything all over the floor. You can tell they're frozen, but we definitely want to try and keep this reasonable. I know that's noisy for you guys, sorry. Hope that you don't find this video too long, because in reality this does not take a long time. Okay, let's check on that chicken. In there maybe 30 seconds or so. Maybe a minute. I have 4 eggs here. Now, if you don't care for eggs in your chicken fried rice, you could leave the eggs out. I just find that adding the extra protein really makes a difference to how long it stays with us. So I'm going to scoop this out into this bowl. And see if I can get it all without making too much of a mess. And then I'm going to grab another bowl. All that beeping is our rice being ready. I'm going to crack these eggs into this bowl with the nutritional yeast that's in the rice, and the 2 cups of chicken, and 4 eggs. This is a very protein heavy dish, which means it'll stick with you for a while longer. There we go. Stick that there to put in the compost. I'm just going to whip these up quick, and I'm going to throw them right into this pan that the chicken came out of. I'm going to grab my spatula and just move this around. I just want to scramble these eggs. And you don't have to make them a dry scramble, but it shouldn't be wet either. And make sure you're chopping them up fine, because we want these pieces to distribute really well. So we don't need great big clumps of egg in our dish. There we go. How long did that take? Not very long at all. Okay, I'm going to put the eggs on top of the chicken, and then we're going to get ready to get the rice in here. And I am going to add a little more oil to this pan, and then I'm going to grab the rice out of the microwave. Now, when it comes out of the microwave, it has steamed it, and it has brought that plastic right down on top of it. And so You want to be really careful removing the plastic. Now you can see that the bits of spices that we added to the chicken bouillon are in there. Everybody has had a bath in the rice, and you can see the color has even changed. You can also make yellow rice of this by using turmeric in it. Maybe that's something for another video. Anyway, and it goes into the hot pan. And it smells really good. I'm going to spread this out because I do want to get it a bit dried out and crispy. And I'm going to add the vegetables to it. And this is where it would have been really helpful to just have peas and carrots rather than all the other vegetables. And if you could thaw them ahead, that would be helpful because we're trying to dry out the rice and get it a little crispy. But now I'm adding moisture back to the pan. But anyway, this will cook up really quick. So don't be deterred by what I'm doing. I'm just using what I have rather than running to the store. I know I needed to use this bag of vegetables up before it got freezer burnt. And so this is what I'm doing. Okay. I am probably, because it bothers me, going to see if I can get all these bits cut into bite-sized pieces. Okay. Now to that, I'm going to add back the chicken and the scrambled eggs. And I'm going to give it a stir. And start to get everything incorporated into the pan. Perfect. Now I'm going to add about, maybe I should measure this. You know how things can slip away from you? Let's measure it. I'm using a dessert spoon, so I'd say that's about 1.5 teaspoons of sesame oil, which I keep in my refrigerator so that it doesn't go rancid. And I'm going to need at least 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. If you like soy sauce, by all means add a little more. I didn't, if you notice, I didn't add any salt to the chicken bouillon. And I didn't do that because I knew this dish that we were making today, whoops, keep it in the pan, Pauline. I knew this dish we were making today was going to use soy sauce, and I didn't want it to be over salted. Now this needs a good mix in order to get the sesame oil and the soy sauce well incorporated with everything that's in the pan. And this smells delicious. And I would say this is easily would serve 4 people as a main dish. I don't think you would even have to, it would be generous serving for. I've frozen this for my husband's lunchbox that I talk about all the time, and it freezes up really well. I don't know how it would last like long term, because generally whatever we're having during the week for meals is what we put into tinfoil containers, and he eats them the next week for his meals on the road. So sometimes the meals sit in there for 3 or 4 weeks, but most of the time they're used up pretty quickly. So I would say, I'm going to add these green onions now. I would say if you're going to put it into the freezer, maybe test it. I wouldn't leave it too long, but maybe test it and make sure that it's going to suit you that way. Okay, peeps. Check it out. That's it. We are done. Now I'm I'm just going to shut this off. Make sure that I have it in the off position. And I am going to grab a plate and I'm going to try this for you. Let's scoop some of this out onto a plate. And there we go. I definitely think that that recipe would serve at least 4, maybe more. And this is what it looks like close up, or as close as you're going to get to it today. I'm going to try and get a little bit of everything. Whoops, losing my rice. Very good. I am a salt person, so personally I would add some salt to this, but I'm glad I didn't add it while I was cooking it, because everybody has their own idea what a good salt level is. So either you can add some salt to your chicken bouillon, or you can add it to your plate. Anyway, folks, I hope you found this useful, and I look forward to bringing you another recipe next week. And I hope that until that time, everybody stays well and safe, and that you are making your way the best you can in this crazy world of ours at present. Take care, everybody. I will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.